Hey there one and all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dysfunctional Dev. I am currently working on my first independent game, New Haven. New Haven is a role-playing game that takes place in a small Midwestern town, much like Salem. You and your friends play the role of a transfer student recently arrived in a sleepy town. Although this town holds a secret, the new college you've applied to is no ordinary tertiary institution. It's actually an academy for magicians.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So yeah, that's a decent summary of the story without any spoilers. I am currently working on a comic book alongside the game that will hopefully quench people's thirst for story and world building, as the game has a lot of missing core features, so things like cutscenes and main campaign are a faraway dream at the moment. I think that's enough introduction for now though. Let's do some game dev. So yeah, I thought for the first video we could maybe do something simple and fun, as well as doing something I'm comfortable in, which is 3D modeling. So for today we're going to be making a cute little bunny. There are currently no critters in the game, so this is going to serve as our first example to just build our AI around and figure out things like spawning and despawning. So yeah, let's jump in. First thing we're going to want to start with is bring in some reference and figure out our silhouette. So one thing I know about myself is I am terrible at drawing animals. Always have been, honestly. Was more focused on drawing, masculine shonen characters and whatnot. But that is the fun of being an artist, is, trying new things, trying to push the boundaries. So yeah, let's see how this turns out. So if anyone is wondering why the model looks so polygonal, I am a box modeler and not a sculptor. So my general philosophy is to work from the most optimized point up, and this works great for, testing and placeholders as well. And then later I can go in and finalize things. The general key is to make sure your shape is what it needs to be, topology is good, and UVs are as finalized as possible, making iteration easier. So you'll realize now I've started with the UVs, or the seams if you want to call it that. Just trying to plan out the texture. This can be tough for beginners, but once you get a handle of a few basic shapes, you'll sort of understand the workflow, and once again it can be very specific and relative, but generally with video games, you try to use as much UV space as possible, so you don't have to rely on things like 4K textures. So yeah, now we've jumped into GIMP. We're just gonna try and figure out a basic layout for our texture map. Most people doing like realistic textures would spend a lot more time on this, as I hand draw over all the textures in Blender. This isn't such an important process for me, it's more of just a template. So an important note with texturing, in most facets of game development, you generally want to work from the most optimized point upwards, like I mentioned earlier with the models. But the cool thing about texturing is programs like Unity and Unreal, I'm sure Godot too, can handle the compression and re-resing of textures in engine on import. So yeah, generally you want to work in your desired resolution for your final product once optimization is all handled. So yeah, I will be working in 2K now and just handling the compression in engine. So now that we're back in Blender, what we want to do is just start aligning our UV spaces and unwrapping to match the texture position. So as you'll see, our bunny is actually coming together, which is surprising even to me. I was 80% expecting him to turn out like a gremlin. As you can see, unwrapping can be a bit tedious sometimes. Generally with props and things more square and obtuse, this is very simple. But with characters and, creatures in this example, textures tend to wrap under and around things, so you have to spend a lot of time sort of just tweaking and finicking around to find something that works. So right now what I'm trying to do is just find space on the UV map for all the different parts of our texture. Generally, this is simpler with props once again, because you sort of share the same general detail across the object, unless it's small things like bolts and nuts. But yeah, with characters, you have to prioritize things according to how they appear. So in a third-person game, the back of a model would be more important than, say, in an FPS game where you only really see the hands, mostly. So you sort of just have to use your brain a little and figure out, okay, how much priority am I going to give to this texture and how much space am I going to allow it to occupy. So yeah, I'm actually really stoked with how this came out, especially considering it is still super early on. What I'm doing now is I'm just generating a normal map. There are some great tools online that you can use to just convert your painted textures to normals or speculars or any other additional map you might need. What I'm going to do for now is also just start painting on some cartoon detail. My game is very cartoonish. I'm sort of going for that cel shaded look. Okay, so I think we're going to end it off there for the day. In part 2, we're going to be handling rigging and importing into Unity and creating all the fun AI scripts. But most importantly, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. There's definitely a lot more coming in the future. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it's probably going to be pretty bad, but it is my first video. And yeah, if anyone really wants to support me, you can follow me on Twitter. And I do sell assets as well, mostly PSX focused. So there'll be a link to that in the description as well. And most of all, if you're making a game as well and you'd like to hire me as an artist, my email will also be provided below. I have been doing contract work for about 3-4 years, professionally in the indie scene. So yeah, I'd love to help out how I can. And also, if anyone has any questions, please leave a comment below. I'm always willing to help. And yeah, I hope everyone has an awesome day.